Hello and welcome to My Best View. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Phaedra.
First episode of 2026.
Yes. Happy New Year, everyone.
Phaedra, what was your best view this week?
My best view this week was looking at the beautiful spread of food that we ate for New Year's dinner. My husband got up at, I think, 6 a.m. to smoke a bunch of ribs, and he spent, I think it was 12 hours cooking it. And then we ate that with like coleslaw and black-eyed peas. Some kind of green was involved, and it was just amazing. Like, we had this feast with like my whole family. My brother is still in town, and my sister and her boyfriend came over. It was a true full house. Only the animals were not at the table, even though they desperately were trying to get up on it to eat all the food. This kind of family time is so special. The day that we're recording this is the last day that my brother is in town from California, so it's just been like so fun all being together, and I'm just gonna soak up every minute after this recording because I'll miss him when he's gone.
I love that. I also love that your Korean husband is culturally Southern.
And Sophie, what was your best view this week?
This is a hot take even within my family.
Oh my gosh.
My best view was, well, it was a view I didn't see. It was not seeing random unqualified people on the street with fireworks on New Year's, because the way in Germany,
Girl,
they have democratized fireworks. And I'm like, not everything needs to be democratized if you ask me.
maybe not explosives, especially.
Yeah, and like people with no qualifications, you can buy it at Aldi, at the discount grocery store. I'm like, I don't know if we need to be doing that. So to me, I loved not living in fear of like something bad happening to a human or a building. I mean, I know in Amsterdam, they had that horrible fire.
I know. This historic church in Amsterdam, right by where my parents used to live in Amsterdam, it got set on fire during the New Year celebrations. And similar to Germany, in the Netherlands, on the New Year's, a bunch of like teenage boys get a fuck ton of fireworks and literally explode like public property, garbage cans and everything. It's like really chaotic and scary. My mom got lit on fire a little bit one year. It's a long story.
Oh my God. And it's not like little sparklers. It's like full pyrotechnics on a city street. You're like trying to walk past people and there's like fireworks going off. I find it terrifying.
Me too.
On the other hand, I made my husband stay up till midnight, and then he was like, so what happens now? I'm visiting my mom in like a very boring suburb, and it's like not a sound, not a peep at midnight. He was like, that's it? I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah. So we start episode 5 with Shekinah and Sarper. Amazing.
Starting strong.
We are in Shekinah's apartment in LA. Sarper is kind of examining her toilet, and she's like, what are you doing? And he is shocked that there isn't a bidet, which, side note, he keeps pronouncing as duvet.
Duvet, yeah.
Which I loved. He has a great quote, of course. He says, this is one of the biggest inventions in history, you know? Fire, wheel, internet, and bidet.
Our guy loves a list. Our guy loves a list, and I love it for him.
ChatGPT hates to see him coming because he just does this naturally. And he asks Shekinah if they can install one, and she's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. You know, this is, again, like a total cultural difference. Personally, I'm a big bidet person. I installed one myself on my toilet. Not that difficult, and big fan.
Women STEM.
Big pooper. Shekinah shows him the, quote, living space of the apartment, which just seems to be her bedroom.
It's just a bed, yeah.
And not particularly large, which obviously in normal circumstances I would not judge or really remark on, except that she's calling this the living space because the rest of her apartment is her workspace. It has like her whole esthetician setup in the rest of the apartment. And so this is the only spot where they can actually chill.
Yeah.
In an interview, Sarper says that the house is a little smaller than I expected. And he says that if he knew how small her apartment was before he came, it wouldn't necessarily have changed his mind about coming, but he would have just appreciated being given warning so that he could prepare for it, which is exactly what I believe we said in the previous episode is just, guys, you gotta just be honest about what the setup is. They're going to see it either way, and you being disingenuous is just...
It's just like such a recurring theme of people saying, I wish I'd known this before I left my country. It's so stressful that there's so much of that.
And most of the time I feel like they're saying that and they're like, yeah, I wouldn't have come if I knew about this. But Sarper is saying, I would have come. I just needed to know this. This is not cool to just spring on me, which feels very fair. We then have a very confusing section where, again, I feel that we are being excluded from something because we didn't watch whatever prequel or spin-off of this show that they were clearly on because we keep getting footage from it with not enough context. We have this very confusing part where Shekinah gives Sarper a back scratcher, and she says, since you have a corner at your place, you scratched your back. You can't do that here, babe.
The lack of exposition made me feel so crazy. I was like, did I fall asleep and miss a whole thing?
Okay, guys, buckle up. This is so weird. But we then cut to a flashback where Sarper is in his apartment in Turkey and saying to Shekinah, this is the proof of my loyalty to you. And he starts scratching his back on the corner of his, wall.
Like a cow. That's the way cows, scratch themselves on, a fence. Oh my God, he touched ribeye and he got mad cow disease. That's what happened.
He says, this is the proof of my loyalty to you. And he starts scratching his back on the corner of his wall. And he asks Shekinah, what am I doing right now? And Shekinah guesses that he's scratching his back. She asks why this proves his loyalty to her. He pulls up his shirt and shows his back, and she points out that he has a hairy back. And he says, before you, it was a duty of girls to wax them off. I mean, the length of this hairs are proof of my love to you, you know? What the fuck does this mean?
I have so many question marks in my notes. First of all, what's happening? What is this reference to? And more importantly, why do we care? I don't think this is that interesting.
To start with, what does this mean? My best interpretation is simply that, okay, which just begs a lot more questions, but we don't have time for all of that. If we spend the time to truly decode everything that Sarper says, we'll just be here all day. It's unknowable. But clearly, he expects women that he's with to wax his back. So because his back has become hairy and Shekinah is not waxing it, I don't understand why she doesn't also get this job, but whatever. That proves that basically he's not cheating on her.
Maybe it's Madonna whore complex, like a Madonna waxer.
Oh my
complex.
God. It is so funny to think, though, that you would expect your casual hookup to wax your back. That feels much more like wife duties. Moving on from this thing that is simply ununderstandable, Shekinah explains that she's going to be busy now that she's back in LA because she missed time seeing her clients while she was in Turkey. Sarper seems a little bit disappointed by this, and she explains that because he was so busy with the visa process, she didn't want to overwhelm him with explaining the reality of what it's going to be like when she has her clients again. This is a little bit illuminating about why she's hiding certain things to him, is that she didn't want to overwhelm him. It kind of reminds me of the Jessica thing about wanting to protect her friend, which we kind of extrapolated to also be maybe a symptom of she was doing a similar kind of mindset toward Juan with not telling him about the bedroom door. Guys, this is not protection. This is not overwhelming someone with the reality. You're just hiding and duping them and making it more stressful in the end.
And setting him up for just disappointment because he came to spend time with you and now you're like, I won't have any time to spend with you, by the way.
Actually, Sarper would love to be with Greg, I think. Because Greg, he's not getting a job so that he can hang out with Joan.
Oh my God, they should be buddies.
In an interview, Sarper says that Shekinah not telling him the reality of her home situation is a red flag, which I did think was interesting because that's a pretty strong assertion. They get in bed for the evening and turn off the lights. Sarper says to Shekinah, you'll be the first girl that I will fuck in the US. You know that?
Didn't like that.
She's like, again, he's so crazy and she loves it. They really are an interesting couple. In the bed the next morning, Shekinah asks what they should do that day. Sarper pulls out red bathing suits for both of them, like sexy little, shorts and like a revealing one-piece bathing suit for Shekinah. And he suggests that they go have a Baywatch day at the beach. And Sarper calls himself Sarper Hasselhoff, which was incredible.
You love to see it.
I'm telling you, Fashion Nova. Recreate these types of red Baywatch swimsuits with Sarper Hasselhoff written on them.
We would buy.
And Shekinah Anderson. We need these bathing suits. In an interview, Sarper says that he was a fan of Baywatch from when he was a kid. It was an inspiration for him to get into working out. So he credits Baywatch for the Sarper that we know today. And I just have to say, thank you so much, Baywatch. I didn't know that it could lead to something as amazing as a Sarper to be inspired from.
It's a beautiful thing to happen. And he really has all these pictures of him before. He reveals he was chubby, these are words, chubby, and also a bullying victim. So this show really turned his life around.
It was sad. And also, I love the pictures of him as a young kid. I don't know, he was so cute. And he looks very different from how I imagined, but he did look adorable. I have a weird soft spot for this Sarper boy.
He's growing on me a lot. I hate to say it.
In the interview also, after seeing the throwback pictures of Sarper, he says that people were bullying me. I couldn't imagine that I will have a body count of 2,500. Crazy.
I did some math on that. I was like trying to figure out when he had time for 2,500 people.
Like, he can't be for real, right? That's more people than I've ever met.
He's 47. Let's say conservatively, he's been having sex for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's 100 a year. That's a lot, but it is possible.
Though. So they go to the beach and they're in their little bathing suits, and Sarper's so excited. He has like a huge smile on his face. I think he's in his element. And Shekinah records slow motion videos of him running on the beach in his Baywatch David Hasselhoff bathing suit. And they have this cute little montage. They record each other. They're like making out on the beach, whatever. They're living. This is exactly how these two people want to exist on the beach. And they go to lie down on the beach towel, and Sarper asks Shekinah if it would be fine for him to come to the beach while she's working with her clients, which I hear and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's great.
Great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great idea. It's an amazing part about living in LA, you know, these amazing beaches. It's gorgeous. Like, you can maybe make friends, like play volleyball with people, whatever. But she kind of gets a little bit weird and says, maybe you should get to know our neighborhood that we live in first to build trust.
Again, I'm like, what did we miss? What are we referencing? Clearly we're referencing something, but we don't have that information.
And in the previous bit, you know, with the whole back scratching thing, there was also kind of an implication of, you can trust me. I'm not cheating on you because I have a hairy back. And it was weird. They were clearly setting something up here plot-wise.
Agreed. Sarper says that, like, he always tells Shekinah he's not cheating on her, but she doesn't believe him, pretty much.
But then in the moment, we cut back and Shekinah says that the choices that Sarper made in the past not only affect the women at the time that he was dealing with, but they're affecting her now because they make her wonder if he can really be loyal long term.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Back in the day, do you remember vague booking? You might be too young for that.
Oh, I was
when
not.
People would post on Facebook status, you just never know who you can trust, ... You know, it's like this. I'm like, say what it's about. Just be explicit with what you're talking about.
I mean, pretty clearly he has cheated in the past, but we're like, how many times?
Did he cheat on you?
Yeah, did a woman give her a hey girly text, or was it that he came forward with this information willingly? I'm very curious. And then it's annoying, honestly, that they bring this up because this is the last time that we see them in the whole episode, which wasn't even clear because it's not like they were the last couple of the episode too. So it just was like, oh, I guess that's going to be in the next step. So yeah, that's where we leave it in this section. But
well, I want to say one more thing, like one final statement, basically. We have see interviews with each of them separately, and Shekinah says that, like, not trusting him could ruin the relationship, but also she worries trusting him too much would ruin the relationship. Mm-hmm. And then Sarper says that if she can never trust him 100% and give him the freedom that comes with being trusted, he will destroy everything and go back to Turkey, and Shekinah will regret it.
That's insane.
Scary.
Because I was going to say the two things that led to this cheating situation being brought up in this episode, the back scratcher and then the Baywatch beach thing, were honestly pretty producer planted. I think it's pretty likely to me that they gave Shekinah this back scratcher and were like, oh, have this little bit referencing that. And then most likely they also gave them the bathing suits.
Yeah, I agree.
So that kind of led me to believe that maybe this is a slightly false storyline. As in, not that it didn't happen, the cheating, which, you know, we don't know.
Producers are pushing it.
I feel like producers are pushing it because maybe there wasn't much else to go on at this point. I don't know. It was kind of interesting. So I kind of don't think this is a big conflict that they're actually facing. I think that it's slightly a red herring.
I'm curious.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Or maybe it actually is a conflict, but the producers are just trying to stir that shit up because they thought that they wouldn't naturally.
Trust. These people are dramatic. They'll bring it up. You don't need to get involved.
Yeah, truly.
So we are back on Bald Head Island with Mark and Mina. And this picks up like right where we left off last episode, where Mina and Jordan had this fight on the beach. Mina uninvited Jordan from the wedding. Mm-hmm. So at this point, Jordan has walked over to where Mark is standing and tells her that Mina told Jordan not to come to the wedding. And he is just like the definition of a bumbling fool. Just now?
He's so discombobulated. Like, Mama, where were you?
I don't know why she would say that.
It's so fascinating how he seemingly cannot predict these outcomes that are, of course, disappointing, but predictable.
Also that he, like, creates, kind of.
Yeah.
And then Jordan, again, like, not just double, I mean, at this point, like triples down on this point that she doesn't want them to have more kids and they're not respecting that. And again, this is really where Jordan loses me because I'm like, Jordan, it's not sort of your place to do that. You can express a preference, but you can't like enforce people's like reproductive choices or, you know.
As much as we might wish that we can, unfortunately we can't, and we should not. I think we've emphasized clearly in the past that we both have a lot of empathy for how she's feeling, but similar to Juan and Jessica's Megan, you are not expressing this in the right way.
And you're not recognizing what power you have.
Lack of, absolutely.
Jordan and her dad like continue talking, and again, this topic comes up of the fact that Mark has just been like telling each of them every single thing the other one has said.
Yeah, so inappropriate.
And Jordan says she can't trust her dad if he tells Mina everything because she's like, I want to be able to have conversations with you about red flags, stuff like that. And no, it's not going to be immediately passed on to Mina.
Which is fair. I'm glad she said that.
In general, they're sort of talking about Mina's behavior and the conversation and the way that like Mina invited Jordan, etc. And Jordan says that this whole thing is a sign they shouldn't get married. And Mark says, let's call it a red flag. We have a couple more months.
Also, don't they have literally 60 days? I guess technically that is a couple more months, but I think you should make that decision before the wedding day.
I agree. And then Mark tells the camera, he's like, I'm not going to choose between my fiance and my daughter, so I don't know where we go from here.
I don't know. Do you think that that phrasing of it is even the right way to think of it, of choosing between your wife or your daughter?
No, I mean, this goes back to the language that we've talked about before of this whole thing of partner or family. I don't think it's either or.
Right.
And I think in general that he has this like very black and white thinking of like, I got to pick one and stick with it. I think it's more like in certain situations, you can be more aligned with one person or another. So I have enormous empathy for Jordan's situation. And I think like it's really disappointing the way her dad's been behaving.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like, I'm like, Mark, you committed to Mina. You brought her to this country. Like you've made a choice. You better stick by that choice. To be like, well, no, I'm not sure. I don't know that. I'm like, I'm not saying that you can't get new information about a partner and like change your mind about them based on new information, but
it feels a little late.
Yeah, it feels a little late, and it feels like I think Mina is being really immature about this, but I actually get where she's coming from in the sense that like she's come from a different country, her circumstances are stressful, and she's being accused of being a gold digger and told not to have more kids and really being held responsible for a lot of things that are Mark's fault.
Yes. Even when Jordan says like, oh no, I blame my dad too,
she doesn't really mean it. No.
Yeah, she might think that she's doing that, but it's not coming through in her actions. She is really putting the blame on Mina.
I will say that one thing Mina could be held accountable for is not behaving maturely. And like, I think saying like, you're uninvited to my wedding, like that wasn't really the move.
Totally.
Or
not.
calling Jordan a snake or whatever. But she's called her a snake. But beyond that, she hasn't had any like personal attacks against Jordan. It's been like, I don't want you messing in my life. I don't want you telling my husband if we can have kids or not. Like, and so because of that, I don't feel like Mina's behavior is like that bad or that unjustifiable.
It's understandable.
I don't think she's behaving well. I want to make that clear, but I don't feel like suddenly this side of her, it's not like the Parent Trap where all of a sudden the stepmom is like a huge bitch to the kids. Like, I feel like Mina is like pretty consistent. Like she told Mark she thinks Jordan's a snake. She told Jordan she thinks Jordan's a snake. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I think it's odd for Mark to now suddenly be like, oh yeah, like that is a problem because Jordan said it, even though like he's kind of been witnessing this thing the whole time.
This has been clear. Yeah.
So I'm just like confused by him.
I agree.
I don't know what he wants or thinks.
I'm sorry. Can I stick Boba out? Because I don't know if you can hear it, but she's snoring and I'm worried.
Can I see her?
Yeah, of course. I feel bad because she's asleep and she's being really quiet and cute, but I'm worried about like, what if at the end I can hear her this whole time snoring? Hey, Boba. Hi, my sweet girl. Hi, my little lady. Come here, baby.
Hello, Boba, my queen. I know you can't smell me, which is critical to knowing who I am, but I know you know me.
Do you want to say something?
Hi, Boba. Oh my God, I love her. Okay, so then it cuts to Mina and she's speaking about her perspective and she says Jordan doesn't accept her and she's like, if she doesn't accept me, she's not coming to my wedding. I've lost my family. I've lost my son. Her son Clayton, who, I mean, he's coming to America at some point, but it's kind of crazy. She's been there for like a month and there's not been a Clayton update yet.
Oh my God, it's been a month. That's right. No wonder Mina is like at her breaking point.
That's what I mean. Like I have sympathy for her.
Totally.
So then going back to the conversation with Mark and Jordan, Mark tells Jordan, you're coming to the wedding. If Mina, has a problem with that, I don't know.
He kind of explicitly says later, like, well, I'm not sure I want to marry Mina if she's making me choose between her and her daughter. And again, it's like, that's not what's happening.
I know. So then at this point, Jordan just kind of starts raising more red flags from her perspective.
She's kind of going off, which is really, I think, not appropriate, but I understand she's frustrated.
I get it, but it's not effective. But she's like, she's so much younger than you. She's from a different country and she wants your money. And it's like this whole thing.
I can feel that it's just, she's been talking to her friends and her boyfriend about this. And she's like, and this thing and this thing. It's like going through all the topics that she brings up to her friends.
Mark at this point starts to push back and he says he also deserves to be happy. And Jordan just says she wishes he were with someone older. And at this point, Mark actually makes a fair point. He says, what am I supposed to do? Should I break up with Mina and find someone else? Like, we already have a baby.
Yeah.
And Jordan admits it's too late since they already have a baby. But the least they can do is just not have additional babies.
Jordan, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I get why she feels that way. And if she were my friend and she were saying this, I'd say, yeah, I totally agree with you. But what she's doing wrong is talking to her dad about it. Like, her argument doesn't even make sense logically. There's already a baby. This kind of conversation, if it was going to happen, it needed to happen maybe when or before they got engaged, not when there's a baby. Too late.
Yes. This also brings up a point for me, which is, I don't think Jordan knows what she wants in terms of realistic things that can actually happen. What she wants is to go back in time and stop her dad and Mina from meeting and stop Maria from being born.
Yes.
So she doesn't have that power. And it's just funny to me because, like, I don't understand the difference between them having one baby and two babies. Like, she's trying to get control over something. Like, well, don't have another baby. And it's like, well, why? I mean,
there's no logic to that. And then it's also, Jordan, okay, there's so many things, but let's say she's okay with having a terrible relationship with Mina, which already is misguided. That is just super messy and frankly will just prolong this being a big part of your stress in life. You don't have to like her, but if you just kept it cute to her face and to Mark and complained behind her back and it didn't get back to them, whatever, that's fine. But you making it very clear to the both of them that you like low-key hate Mina, like something very intense, or like you really think you want her to be
also,
removed from their lives.
Doesn't think Maria should exist, and like poor little baby Maria's like playing in the sand. I'm like, oh.
Exactly. That's the more important thing, is that this baby right now is a baby, but that's your sister and she's going to be an adult, and you could have a relationship with her, but you saying basically that you wish that she, not that she was dead, but that you regret her being brought into the world, that's incredibly hurtful. And that's something that she might, given how Mina is so far, a little bit like petty, I don't doubt that she would tell Maria that Jordan said that potentially.
I know.
And you can't come back from that. That's really awful.
So then at this point, Jordan tells her dad he can do what he wants, but she might not want to be around this new family.
I do think that's fair enough to say.
That's the better approach because that's in her, she's focusing on what's in her control. I will say she says it in kind of like a huffy puffy way, but in general, that is the better approach, is like you just choose what your behavior is going to be, not trying to control other people.
Again, though, even this, it's too late to say. This is something you should have said when they got engaged, maybe. It's like, just so you know, if you continue down this path, I probably won't really be in your life as much.
Then it cuts to Mina, who's still on the beach in her part of the beach, because they're like, after the fight, they went to opposite ends of the beach. And Mina says she might go back to Paris if she feels like Mark isn't supporting her.
Fair.
Yeah, probably should.
Mina, and I don't say this with judgment, Mina is looking for any excuse to go back to Paris. She's like, okay, fine, this is my reason.
I guess I'll do it. Twist my arm. We cut back to Jordan and her dad, and Jordan says she's going to leave the like beach excursion and go back by herself because Mina uninvited her from the wedding and she doesn't want to spend time with them anymore, which, okay, fair.
When Jordan tells him that she's going to head out for the day, he's like shocked, which was so interesting. He's like, what? No, but we're going to spend the whole day together.
He does not get cause and effect.
He is so oblivious. And Jordan has to explain, no, it's super awkward now. I don't want to spend the whole day with you guys. It's just going to be really weird.
What about our family day?
She's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And he's like, come on, Jordan, don't be this way. Mark, you don't want these two women to be in the same space anymore, maybe ever. But at this day, it's not going to get better. It's going to get so much worse.
He's so like short-term focused. He's like, let's just get him back on the beach together. It's like,
yeah, he just thinks, oh, if they're physically together, eventually they'll just start being happy. I bet it's that when he is a fucking asshole and annoying, the women in his life just eventually suck it up because they don't actually think that he has the capacity to become better. So they just kind of let it go. And he equates that to, oh, everyone gets over it and gets happy again. And it's like, no, people are just stopping arguing with you because they know that you don't possess the tools to actually become a better person through discussing it.
So then in the next segment, Mark goes and finds Mina to ask what happened. And Mina says she's sick of being judged. She's sick of being accused of being a gold digger and just not being accepted in the family. And then Mark says that it's not right that Jordan is being so judgmental of them. And in this episode, actually, for the first time, I think Mark has the feeling that Jordan's concerns are maybe shifting to judgment rather than neutral feedback.
Right.
But he still says he wants to stay out of it. And then he says this line, and I'm like, Mark, this is you in a nutshell. He says, I know I started it, but you guys need to fix it. The way people tell on themselves. I'm like, yeah, wow. Mark, hit the nail on the head. That is how you operate in this world. You like set fires and then run away.
And for the record, you're not right. It's incorrect. Wrong conclusion to come to. Damn, this man is 58. And this is his, whatever you want to call it, but this is his second family. This is how he is. He's not going to get better. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying that people can't, but he's not going to. So
I know
he's being weirdly like open that is the reality of how he operates, but it's very stupid.
So Mark does express to Mina that he feels bad for her, especially with the whole situation with Clayton, her son. But he also says he doesn't want to marry someone who doesn't get along with his daughter.
If this was such a priority, why are they not really spending time together until right now? I understand that Jordan and like the rest of the family came to Paris to try to do that, but I don't know. Was there no way to get Mina to come out to the East Coast? You know what I mean? Like, if this was actually such a priority, you haven't been operating in a way that actually reflects that.
So Mina at this point just says she wants to go back to New Hampshire.
Which I never thought she'd ever say.
I know. So yeah, she wants to go back to New Hampshire and not spend the rest of the trip with Mark's family. And Mark is like, please stay. And again, he goes, I don't know what to do either. What do you want me to do?
How about you try to figure it out? You're an adult. Mark, no one knows, and it's a shit situation. It's literally your fault. If it's anyone's responsibility to figure it out, it's yours. Try.
And speaking of try, one kind of final conflict is that Mark keeps telling Mina, just try with my family, just try with Jordan, just try. And Mina's like, I'm sick of trying. Like, it's always on me to try. Which I think is actually a valid complaint. And then the segment ends with Mark going, it's not supposed to go like this. Beeped out expletive, and he slams the door.
I kind of like angry Mark. It was very interesting. I was like, ugh, finally a different mood other than just, oh, let's all get along.
Finally, an emotion.
Mark and Mina and then straight into the throuple is crazy work.
This was a big chunk of excitement. So we're in Ensenada, Mexico, in the hotel with the throuple, and shit is awkward. Vibes are rancid.
It's the morning after the really tense hot tub argument with the three of them.
About the fact that Matt and Ani had sex while Amani was sleeping, and Matt didn't tell Amani.
Yeah, and Matt was being the worst communicator of the three of them. Would you believe it?
I'm shocked. So it starts with Matt cutting an apple, I guess like for their breakfast, while the women are just sitting in silence. And you can like feel the tension. It's not good.
Yeah.
And Amani in a interview with the producers like recaps the situation. I thought the language she used was very interesting. She says that Ani and Matt had sex behind her back.
Yes.
And it's interesting because you can always put a spin on a situation. And like, I'm not defending Matt, but at least from Ani's perspective, I really feel like she just thought they're in a throuple. They're all allowed to have sex with whoever, which like, I don't think is a crazy assumption.
I didn't know that there was a different dynamic that could happen. I thought that was
You're only allowed to have sex, the three of you, because you know Amani and Matt are having sex without Ani.
Well, right. That's the thing is I'm like, I don't believe all of you have that role. Well, no one has a role. That's the problem.
I know. But anyway, so her bringing in this language of like deception and whatever is interesting to me.
I agree.
And Amani says that she feels jealous and disrespected. And this is, by the way, an interview, all three of them next to each other saying this like in front of each other. So Amani says she feels jealous and disrespected. Ani says she feels bad because she's the one who started it. And Matt is like, well, I don't really get it because it's like it's a secret, but it wasn't a secret. Like, so these are their roles. Amani is like, in my opinion, reading too much into a situation that wasn't really anything. Ani is like trying to take accountability, and Matt's just, huh? What?
number one, he's clueless about anything because he's like, well, what are the rules? But even when Amani tried to set them up originally, and he's not acknowledging that, he's not taking any responsibility for shutting down her attempt at making rules before this happened. And then two, I feel like he's just trying to guilt Amani into not feeling bad anymore, which I do think Amani feeling upset about the situation is pretty ridiculous given everything we've talked about. But okay, that's how she's feeling. Matt is not trying to actually comfort her. He's just trying to make her feel bad so that she stops guilt tripping him.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible dynamic.
And then Amani says that this is her nightmare in this situation. And I'm like, how? Like,
it's a clearly obvious thing that could happen in this situation. This is your nightmare?
I would understand if the nightmare was Ani and Matt forming a monogamous coupling without Amani.
Right, like a deeper connection.
Like, and like that they then are like, we actually want to be a couple without you.
True.
I feel like that would be a nightmare, but like just them having sex, I'm like, I don't know, it seems like within the norms of what is in this relationship if you haven't specified otherwise.
I think that if I were in a throuple and then it turned out that Amani got mad at me for hooking up with the third person in the relationship, I'd be like, what are we doing then? What's the advantage?
I know. And this is kind of what Ani says. She basically says like she doesn't want conflict, and if there will be fights, she prefers to go.
Yeah, which was kind of tea. And good for her for standing up for herself. She doesn't seem, even though she is in a kind of a bad situation in her life overall, I appreciate that she's not willing to compromise her self-worth to be in the US, for example.
I agree with that. And then Amani says, I mean, she's toggling between aggressive and passive aggressive in this episode. She's like, we're seeing new sides of each other. I'm like, just say what you mean. Say that like you think Ani is a slut and Matt's a snake or whatever. But like, she's like, so we're learning a lot about each other that we didn't know before. I'm like, we know what that means.
Also earlier in the episode, she said to Ani, like, oh, don't look sad. It makes me feel bad. And I just thought that was so interesting because it's not, oh, are you still feeling upset? Like, can we talk about it? It was just, don't look sad. It makes me feel bad. You need to stop doing that.
It's an offshoot of the Mark School of Conflict Management.
Yeah. Amani and Mark should get together and then realize how awful both of their equivalent forms of...
I would love to see them try to solve anything.
Them in an escape room.
My dream. Oh my God. New spinoff show. TLC, pay us money for that if you use it. Then Matt is like moping and self-pitying, and he says he wasn't prepared for what was going to happen. He says he felt like the women were teaming up on him.
Can we also at some point mention the physical setup of them during this argument?
Ani and Amani were sitting at the fire pit on the balcony, like overlooking the vista, and Matt is behind them, like in the room.
Like a good 20 feet back.
Yeah. Amani is refusing to look at Matt. She's speaking to the abyss.
Yeah, so this whole
Matt.
argument, you have to picture Amani and Ani are kind of looking at each other / looking out of the hotel to the view. Matt is like 20 feet behind them, just looking forward at them. And then like Ani is kind of making eye contact with Matt, but they're in this really weird literal triangle. It's just very strange communication-wise. It was very weird.
And so Matt says he felt teamed up on, and then Amani says to Ani that she did the right thing by saying something. And then Matt says, quote, I did the normal thing we do, and all of a sudden I'm crucified for it. And I will say I hate Matt's self-pitying language, but I'm also like, low-key, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, I think Matt knows his wife. I think he should have a sense of what would be okay for his wife and what wouldn't be okay for his wife. Like, not that you're responsible for other people's unspoken feelings and wishes, but like if you're someone's husband of 10 years, you would hope you would have like a little bit of context about what would trigger them or not. And like to be like, what? All of a sudden she's mad. I'm like, sorry, Amani seems like the kind of person who gets mad about a lot of stuff. Like, I'm surprised that he's surprised.
It's very weird. It's as if these two don't know each other.
Yes. And then there's this like kind of crazy to me reveal. I mean, the facts aren't crazy, but the fact that Amani is revealing it in this way is crazy to me. She says Ani is walking into a relationship of 10 years and the existing problems are coming back up. And she says this, and it's like, I don't know if this is something she's saying generally or about their existing relationship, but she says, if you're in an existing relationship and you have problems and it's shaky, it's probably not going to go well to form a throuple. And I'm like, so you're admitting that your relationship is bad? Like,
I wonder if these people break up, is that filmed after? And she's like looking back and she's saying, yeah, that was not a good idea. It was so misguided of us to even be in that type of a dynamic given everything. in retrospect?
That's such a good question. And I do wonder, because I was like, that seems like an odd thing to be saying.
Because if this is in the moment, it's very self-aware, but why would you continue to be in this relationship then,
Yes.
given what you're saying? So it almost makes me think that they break up and this is filmed after. I actually had that feeling a couple times in this episode where I was really looking at the interviews and saying, okay, wait, when was this filmed? Was this before they ever met up with the person? And actually with different couples too. This happened with Stevi and Mahdi too, where a comment was made and I said, oh, I don't think you would say that if you were still together.
I want to get there later. I'm really curious what it is.
Sneak peek.
Coming up. We're like the 90 Day Fiancé producers. Coming up next.
Spoon feeding. One other thing is she mentions that she feels like this is making her work twice as hard as when it's just her relationship with Matt. And this is so interesting to me because first of all, it's really stupid that she didn't expect this to be a result, but it does give insight into potentially why she's interested in having this 3-person relationship. I wonder if she thinks that this is a way for her and Matt to essentially hide from their existing issues as a couple, because she's saying, I didn't think that this would make these old problems rear their head. So given that she's super jealous, and I think doesn't seem like she's genuinely really enjoying having a throuple relationship, or at least is not the one leading the charge, is this what she thought she would get out of it?
Just like escapism.
She feels that they can just hide from the issues they've been having and just dive into something new.
It's very possible. And then Amani in this same interview says that her biggest fear is losing Matt. And she's like also talking about how like she couldn't live without him. I'm like, you definitely could. This man's not bringing anything to the table.
The only thing I've seen him bring to the table is he's been the one driving.
He cut an apple.
He's been driving. Ew, wait, where was... Oh, this is in the next part. He did say a horrific thing at one point that I guess he is bringing to the table.
The next segment starts with Matt and Ani cuddling on the bed and kissing disgustingly. It's a very nasty sort of kiss.
Very porn-like.
Ani criticizes the kiss. She's like, what was that kiss? Matt says,
oh God, guys, prepare yourself.
Trigger warning, everything. He says, and he has this nasty voice where I guess I fuck better than I kiss, huh?
Oh my God. Ew.
This was sick and twisted.
I don't know if there's anything to say, but I feel like I can't move on yet.
We have to. But we will be processing this for the next 48 hours. So then they all get dressed. And okay, it's a small thing. They look like they're getting dressed for something really, really fancy. Yeah. And then they're like going for an outdoor picnic.
Ani has on this like really long like white coat. You're wearing this to go sit on dirt. Okay.
So they are welcomed by Susan, the hotel concierge, who has their picnic set up for them. The picnic is rather awkward, and Matt suggests creating guidelines. And I'm like, whose idea was that, Matt?
Yeah, what a genius. Men taking credit for women's decisions always.
Amani says something that like I think is right, but it for some reason there's a weird vibe when she says it, which is that she wants to make sure the rules aren't just the existing couple imposing rules on Ani.
Mm-hmm. It's almost this funny thing where it's like, oh, I want you to make sure that you know that that's not what's happening. But it's almost like you're saying, just as a reminder, we are a couple and you're the third.
It does feel like this reinforcement or like reminder of some hierarchy. It reminds me of like middle school when people would be like, when mean girls especially would be like, oh my God, like, I hope you don't feel like your outfit's ugly or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like,
oh, I hope you don't feel bad because you don't have as many friends.
Yeah, something like when you're like, oh, thank you. And then you're like, wait, that was actually really mean. It almost had that energy. So Ani's rule, she suggests that they shouldn't go to sleep angry.
It's a good rule.
Matt's rule, he suggests, is that he be given a chance to talk.
Yeah, his is about him. Something self-serving.
He's like, you guys are always speaking and I don't get a chance to talk. So please also let me, in like a conflict setting, like let me also speak. Okay. Amani says she wants to, and again, she's like not even fully getting behind this rule. She's like seeing what the people think. She goes, she wants to see if everyone is allowed to have sex with each other without the other person's permission. I thought permission was a very interesting word to use here.
Well, she kind of opens it, as you said, as this open-ended, what do you guys think? And then she says she would like them to ask for permission before having sex, just the two of them. Specifically says you two. So nothing about if she were in this situation, but like about them, which already was interesting.
And you know Matt and Amani, who live together and have been married for 10 years, are not asking Ani for permission if the two of them have sex. You know that.
Right. Is the implication also that Amani and Ani would never just have sex, the two of them?
Well, they get there because Ani says that she's okay with the permission thing. It's fine for her. And then Matt says the women don't need permission from him to have sex with each other.
So the only person who needs permission,
is Ani to have sex with Matt.
I don't like agree, but I understand Amani is jealous and that's why she wants this to be a rule. And they are saying that they're okay with it. So, okay. But you guys, what are the logistics of this? This feels so unrealistic. It's so funny. Like, what if Amani is like out of the house and like the two of them suddenly have like the mood come on and they want to start
They
banging?
have to FaceTime her and ask.
Yeah, literally you have to call, like, oh, she's not picking up her phone. I have to do Find My, Be Perfect. Like, and then you don't want to have sex anymore. It's just like, what is the logistics
What
of
if
this?
she says no?
Oh, yeah. And would she ever say no?
So after they like decide, I mean, they're kind of all like, oh, it's fine with the permission thing. They're not like, great idea. They're like, okay. They have this sick group kiss.
Very viscerally upsetting. And okay, I am curious, is a group kiss actually something that polyamorous people do? Or is this like lesbians and like scissoring? You know what I mean? I was just like, this feels like something that doesn't actually happen in this type of relationship.
Everyone's getting like a corner of a lip only. You know, I will say this, weirdly enough, this couple actually has in a way made me feel more sympathetic or open-minded to poly people, because I'm like, these people, I just know they're not doing it right.
They make me feel defensive of polyamory in a way I never have been. I'm like, well, this is an insult to it.
Yeah, because I'm just like, everything they're doing, I'm like, that's definitely not how you do that. Like, it makes me want like a different throuple so I can compare and contrast.
It's kind of like when you're shit talking a woman in front of a man and then he joins in and you go, well, no,
not you. Yeah. So like just the refusal to set any sort of parameters until it's too late. And then the parameters like random, the just grossness of it all. The fact that everyone is bringing in like a really bad set of like emotions and like a lack of regulation, and that not everyone's equally into it. And the fact that there's like a very clear duo within the trio. I mean,
yeah,
all these things I'm like, that can't be right. Also kind of highlighted to me in this context is like, I kind of, and okay, you know what? I'm willing to admit I don't know everything about everything. So maybe I'm wrong. So people can chime in here. But
same.
I don't view being poly as like a sexuality in the way some people do, where they're like, I have to be poly. Like, I think ultimately it is a choice that you're making. And I think you can make a choice that monogamy is not right for you. I think that's not morally wrong or something. But sometimes they speak about it the same way people speak about like being gay, where they're like, well, I have to. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. And I think what throws me off, for example, is like, there was one moment with this couple in a couple episodes ago where they were talking about like, so Matt and Amani got together, but they were like still missing something. And then Ani like is what they were missing. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I find it odd because I'm like, so let's say one partner isn't fulfilling you. So then what if two doesn't fulfill you? You know what I mean? Like, what is it about the third person that's providing this value that like concretely, they almost frame it as like we are just people who need a third person in our relationship. And like, I struggle to understand why it's that specifically. What's preventing them from saying, well, actually, we're not happy. We need a fourth person, or we need a different third person, or somewhere there they lose me. I can't really relate to it, but in general, I just have this very strong feeling that if this does work, everything they're doing is worst practices.
I agree.
So going back to the episode, Minnie is like glad that they've set some rules, but she says she's not forgotten about the biggest problem, which is that Ani has not told her family about them being a throuple and has said that Amani is just a friend. And then we like don't get resolution on this, but like cuts back to the picnic. They're going back to the hotel and Matt goes, I got ladies to please, and like wolf whistles.
He's so disgusting.
It's sick.
I find him deeply repulsive. As I said last episode, he is more repulsive to me than Mark.
They both have special places in hell reserved for them, in my opinion. But
I think it's that Mark, in my mind, like I still don't accept him and his behavior, but it's like I do recognize that he's a middle-aged guy where like his type of behavior was more permitted in his age group. Frankly, men were allowed to get away with shit more back then, and I think we hold men to a higher standard now in general. And I think that's why Matt bothers me so much, is he's closer to my age and I'm like, oh, why are you repulsive and gross and like also sexist?
He's just nasty. Ugh.
Up next we have Shawn and Alliya.
So basically, Shawn is cleaning the house because he's like, I want to make Alliya happy. But it's interesting because he has a really negative attitude about it. He's like, gotta clean the house. But it's one of these situations, it's hard to tell who's right, because he's like, oh, Alliya's so particular. She needs things beyond clean. And he describes what honestly sounds like contamination OCD.
Yeah.
like level of like, you know, your outside feet can't be in the bed even if you've not been barefoot all day, and like these kind of
Yeah.
rules that she has. So I'm like, okay, it sounds like sort of something in that area. But then he's like, ugh, she's making me clean. He wipes a counter and he holds up the cleaning cloth and it's like black. So I'm like, okay, so you actually should be cleaning. Like,
Like, yes, what he brought up about the example that you touched on, that Alliya is not comfortable if Shawn gets in bed without washing his feet first. As someone with OCD, I know everyone's OCD is very different, but like I do feel pretty confident saying this is unusual in a way that is likely a condition.
the one that really threw me off was he said, Aaliyah says Shawn needs to shower immediately before getting into bed. He was like, even if I've showered in the afternoon, that's not enough. And he was like, there are some days where I don't have the energy to shower at night, so I sleep on top of the covers. That's when I was like, there's a rigidity here which does not feel like,
Just cleanliness.
yeah, it feels like a symptom of something.
This is definitely abnormal. I do appreciate that he is actually cleaning even when she's not there, I will say. You know, because he could just say, oh yeah, I cleaned. But he actually did. And his house did look really beautiful and put together. So Shawn arrives at the airport to pick up Alliya from Brazil with his dog. And he says it feels like a miracle that this day is finally here. He can't wait to see how their life together will look on a daily basis. And he says a really uncomfortable quote to me. I really did not like the phrasing. He says, we'll have to see how the persona of Alliya plays into our happily ever after.
I did not like persona of Aaliyah. Also, right before that, he said something about like he worries Aaliyah will blame him for holding her back from living a full Aaliyah lifestyle. I've been reflecting on this. I think he thinks Aaliyah is a drag persona.
Oh my
I
God.
don't think he understands this is like her actual essence of like her being.
Yeah, because he keeps saying also like, well, if she chooses to keep living as Alliya. And I'm like, yeah.
That's who she is.
So what you're saying about like that this is just an alter ego or like even drag or something, that's the only way that what he's saying would make sense, the phrasing of it. I really hated this because it's not a persona, it's a person. That's just who they are.
I, by the way, had like a inner vindication corner about this because there was a little voice in my head that was like, I mean, I've been going hard on him and his language because I think as a partner of a trans person, you need to really be very particular with the language you use. But part of me is like, well, he's in his 60s, like, but later it's really revealed the language is actually representative of how he does truly feel. And I'm glad that I haven't just harping on an old person who's getting it wrong, you know?
Totally. And I think as you brought up, if you're the partner specifically, you're setting the tone for how other people are treating them.
If you're introducing people, I mean, no one's getting introduced yet, but if you're introducing people, are you going to be like, this is my partner who has the persona of, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it informs people who this person is. So I think it's really odd that he's like this.
I agree. It's very uncomfortable, very much so. Also, it's like, Shawn, Alliya is not one of your divas that you have a shrine to in your home. She's not Barbara Streisand. This is just who she is. This is not her putting on a costume and playing dress up and being an alter ego or persona.
Good point.
Back now in the moment in the airport, we have the airport meeting moment, you know, that every couple has to have. Always lackluster, but whatever. So this moment is only cute because Alliya is adorable. I'm still so freaked out watching this by just their age difference. Shawn is an old man and Alliya is literally younger than me. I mean, by 1 year. We're the same age. It's disgusting to even consider. Like,
he's older than your parents.
Ew, I don't even want to think about like dating one of my parents' friends at my age. It's horrific. So I will say I'm really not feeling a lot of chemistry from the two of them in this meeting, which in general, I would say people can get weird during meetings after long distance and like she's been traveling all day and like, I don't know, it is, but they didn't even seem awkward on camera, let's say. The two of them, I think, actually really feel comfortable on camera and they have good presence, like a good stage presence. But with the two of them, they felt very platonic almost throughout the whole section, not just the meeting. So I thought that was interesting. In an interview in this section, Shawn explains that this is only the second time they've actually spent time together in person after Alliya started her transition. So their relationship still feels kind of, quote, new. It is giving good context to how uncomfortable, frankly, he seems about her being a woman.
Yes.
I think that not physically being with her during this transition has impacted him not really adjusting well.
I also just think what I have been feeling from the first time we saw them is that, and I don't mean to oversimplify something as complex as human sexuality, but that Shawn is gay and Alliya is a woman, and that's sort of a big incompatibility. And I feel like the way Shawn is in his head almost trying to justify it is that, well, she's still kind of a man, so it kind of works. Like,
yes.
That's how it seems in his head. And I'm like, you are not doing her a service by saying, well, I'm gay, but you're still kind of a man. So it's like, no, just it would be more affirming to say, because you're a woman, I am no longer attracted to you sexually and romantically. It's not morally
and that's
bad.
Fair. I agree. So they arrive back at Shawn's house, and Alliya, when she walks through the door, says she feels like she's walking into a different time period. It's very medieval, which is funny because I didn't really catch it looking medieval, but
it's like one of these classic LA storybook houses.
yeah, it is kind of like out of a fairy tale or something.
Yeah.
And she starts pointing out all the interesting home decor that we touched on in the intro episode of Shawn Alliya. But in particular, she points out that there are dinosaurs everywhere, like little figurines and even wallpaper. I just thought that was kind of random.
I didn't like that.
It was giving elementary school boy a little bit.
Yes.
But I do appreciate the whimsy. I do like a little figurine. So they sit down and have dinner outside. Shawn suggests that after they finish eating, they could go to bed and cuddle and see what else happens, which was, I don't know, such like old guy suggesting sex.
It's also like, I'm obviously all for enthusiastic consent, but it's just so funny to be like, itemized list. Number 1, get in bed. Number 2, cuddle. Number 3, it's like, okay, just you can also like let it happen. It's sort of probably the expectation anyway.
Also, why bring it up when they're eating dinner? Enjoy your dinner, and then if it happens, it happens. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, weird to be like, we will have sex later.
It's like 90 Day Producers. It's going, coming up next.
Sex. Okay, but then something really interesting happens in this conversation. Shawn tells Alliya that he, quote, did all the STD testing and that he's good to go. And I was like, oh, period. Maybe this just has to do with her being very, like, a little bit OCD maybe, or very into being
That was
clean.
my thought, too.
And I thought also, I do appreciate people being, like, expecting STD testing to happen, blah, blah, blah. But then I realized these people have been in a relationship for 4 years. So what's this about? Well, we get clarity pretty quickly because we cut to an interview with Shawn where he explains that him and Alliya have had an open relationship since the beginning because of the long distance, which I've heard of this concept. I wouldn't do it in my own relationship, but okay, like again, human sexuality is very complex. I don't think that's inherently wrong if you guys are aligned. But concerningly, Shawn admits that this is something that he doesn't think Alliya likes. But, quote, it's something I needed.
Hate.
He's admitting that she doesn't like it and is like, but I don't really care. Whoa, okay.
I also have something to add here, which is just a hot take of mine. I don't agree to the same extent some people do about sex being this like physiological need that you'll die if you don't have it.
Get a hobby.
I don't know, when people are like, well, but it's not my fault because I need it. I'm like, it's not the same as food and water. It's just not.
It's not. I don't know. Maybe you and me are just not horny enough. Maybe other people like literally is a need, but I'm with you. I'm like,
that's how I feel. I mean, again, maybe this podcast is just a reveal that we're both asexual. No, but it's no, but genuinely, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I hate when people act like, cause like, I don't know, there are situations where you just like can't have sex, like people survive.
Yeah.
So I kind of hate that of like, well, I had to do it. I will say the language of need, I don't like, because that feels weaponized. If he says, I want to, okay, own it that it's a want. But being like, I needed it. I don't like that.
I agree. I hate the fact that he knows that she doesn't like it and he's doing it anyway. I think that's really the issue.
Yes. But I think this is a link to what I'm talking about, that he's framing it as like, well, I had to do this thing she didn't want because I needed it. He's saying it like she's on a juice cleanse and I'm not on the juice cleanse because, I have nutritional needs. Fine. I don't know. I find the language odd that he's prioritizing his sexual desires over his partner's like emotional well-being to a certain degree. Like, I think that's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Okay. Also, I think that this relates potentially to, in the last episode, Shawn had mentioned that one of the reasons for not telling his friends about his relationship is because the relationship was always changing. And we didn't understand what that meant. But I think this might, unfortunately, I do think also he is referencing just the fact that she transitioned. But maybe this is also another example of the relationship constantly changing.
It's possible. And then Alliya, God bless her, advocating for herself, wants to know how Shawn feels about being open now that they're physically together. And Shawn was fucking pissing me off. He's like,
yeah, horrible answer.
Let's let's discuss that later. Let's see how it goes over the next few days. And I'm like, that is so disconcerting. If I weren't concerned before, I would become concerned after this answer.
Yes. They add on to this. So we cut to an interview where Alliya says that she's not happy with this answer, and it makes her wonder if Shawn is happy with how she is after transitioning. And then immediately we get an interview with Shawn where he has a horrible quote that really upset me. Really, really did. He said, as much as I love Alliya, at the end of the day, God, I feel sick saying it. As much as I love Alliya, at the end of the day, I didn't sign up to be in a relationship with a woman. So if she's fully going to be a woman, then I know that I'll be missing the company of being with a man. So here it is. It's exactly what we were afraid of.
Everything we feared. Totally. And this is what I'm saying. He thinks he's doing her a favor by staying with her. You're not. You're not doing someone a favor by being with them and resenting them and not being attracted to them.
The only thing I could think of this being a favor is like maybe if Alliya really wanted to come to the US and Shawn's just doing her a solid, but it sounds like they're pretending that they're in a relationship.
If he was just like, you know what, I want to be platonic life partners, cool. I think that's really nice. But the way that he's like pretending to be more into her than he is, and also this language, if she's fully going to be a woman, like
what's not clicking for him that she is a woman? Why? What is he waiting for to prove that to him?
It's so annoying.
This is not the right relationship for you, Shawn.
Break up.
That's
You're
all it
allowed
is.
to break up.
And honestly, you should. You're being really mean. That's horrible. And you're not understanding who she is as a person fundamentally, and you're not being kind.
And she feels it because she even said, like, I worry that he won't be able to accept me as Alliya.
I know. I think that we have the answer to why she seemingly leaves him at the altar, which we saw in the flash forward in the first episode. I hope that she drags his ass because he's really pissing me off.
I know.
You know what? He's also raising up in the ranks of hated men in my eyes. They all
You know what? There's not a single man left on the show that I feel good about. I feel best about one, and he cheated on his fiancée when she was 8 months pregnant. Like, that's crazy.
This show is so bad when it comes to the men.
It really makes you think.
In the next section, they're waking up in bed. Alliya asks if it's normal for the dog to wake them up like this by like licking their hands in the morning. Just another example of the non-American being shocked by how the American handles having a pet. It's very funny. So they're going for a hike this morning, and Aliyah's like, do you really need to go on a hike my first day here? Which is so real. Can you imagine how exhausted she is? I mean, her travel day was so long.
She had a 13-hour layover. I know.
If I was expecting to hike the next day, I'd say, go fuck yourself.
So when they get to the hiking place, Runyon Canyon, so LA of them, Alliya has like gotten herself totally dolled up, and she's wearing these little shorts, this little sports bra, and has like this kind of oversized, unzipped sweatshirt on top. And she clearly tried to look cute for him. And she says to Shawn, she says, how do I look? And he goes, warm. I was just like, oof.
He's so cold to her.
Talk about rejecting a bid. Like, she's like, how do I look? Warm. To me,
So
that was everything about their relationship. Like, Alliya trying to foster connection and him just like not engaging.
But still continuing to be in the relationship for some mysterious reason.
It's funny too, because it's like, you know, for a lot of people, the reason they don't want to break up is like the logistics. Like, they're too embedded in each other's lives.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, not a single person in your life knows about her. Like, logistically, this is an easy breakup.
Anyway, Alliya asks Shawn if his friends and family know that she's here yet. And Shawn says that his mom knows, Jean, our queen, and a couple of his friends know, quote, some things, but his kids and everyone else don't know anything. And Alliya asks if there's something he's embarrassed about her that's stopping him from telling people about her, which is just like, she knows. Alliya knows.
I know.
It's like this open secret. And he says no. Shawn, stop lying. Again, just be honest, you guys. Come on. He says no, but he doesn't want to hear other people's opinions about anything in his life. If he said this before the interview that we saw just right before this, I guess I would be like, okay, maybe he's being truthful. I think that he knows that he's not attracted to her because she is a woman now, and he doesn't want his friends to confront him with that reality.
It's not good. When you're like refusing to get your friends' feedback on something, it's not good.
So in this moment between the two of them, Shawn explains that he doesn't really feel the need to get married again in his life since he already did it. As seemingly he says this out of nowhere. I don't know. Maybe there was context that was cut, but it felt random. But he understands that because she's not American, they have to get the visa. And Alliya says that she definitely wants to get married. It's like a dream for her. And she's clearly hurt by this. She's like, well, no, I actually am doing this because I want to marry you. And he's like, oh. they're so incompatible. And I think a lot of this has to do with the age difference more than anything. Again, the framing of this is so focused around her transition. But to me, so much of this is also about this age gap that is rarely getting mentioned.
There's a certain language she uses about the marriage, which honestly sounds a bit juvenile to me, where she's like, I always dreamed of getting married and having a happily ever after. And like, she keeps using this kind of like fairy tale language where I'm also like, I don't know, I don't want to say she's immature in general, but there is something that keeps coming up in the way she talks about relationships, which sounds a little bit like, you know, I want my fairy tale. I don't know anyone in my life who still speaks that way since like high school.
They have an age gap. And then I think even for a 25-year-old, when it comes to relationships specifically, because I don't think we have any evidence of this being the case for other parts of her life, Alliya is showing a certain level of immaturity.
And it's not even in a negative sense, but she just seems young. She's a young 25.
Yes, which is okay. She's in her 20s, like she's allowed to be. And I think that if you are a youthful 25-year-old, all the more reason to not be in a relationship with an older person. It's just not compatible with you. And it's going to like suck the life from you, to be honest.
I agree.
So she directly asks Shawn now if he thinks he wouldn't want to marry her if they didn't have to for the visa. I love how direct Alliya is, even though honestly she has a lot to lose by not going through with it, because it seems like she's really happy to be in the US and it seems like she does want to be with him. But I appreciate her being direct. And Shawn says, oh no, it's nothing. He does want to marry her, but he's fearful since he had a marriage that didn't work out in the past. I think he's lying here. I think he realizes that he was too honest and now it's uncomfortable. And I don't say that he's lying in the sense that like he's trying to do something nefarious. I just think he doesn't have the bravery to be honest with her in this moment when it's clear that her feelings are hurt.
I agree.
And then we end this section with Alliya saying in an interview that if Shawn still feels this way after 90 days, then she doesn't know if she will want to marry him. And again, I think we have the answer to how this whole thing goes. I think we're going to go through certain actual situations with the two of them, but I think at the end of the day, meaning like the fact that he doesn't want to get married again, and the fact that frankly, he's not attracted to her as a woman and he wishes that she was a man, is why they're not going to get married. And if this is in fact what ends up happening, I'm really proud of Alliya, because it seems like she's the one that will leave him. She is a very strong person, I'm already seeing.
I agree.
Now we have Stevi and Mahdi.
The segment starts with a Confederate flag montage. All of the Confederate flags and monuments in the town. And then it transitions to an American flag montage.
The linking of those two is very on the nose. Woof. That's disgusting. Sorry, the South is not beating the allegations. Jesus. So after the Confederate flag montage, Stevi is in the car, in the driver's seat, parked, and Mahdi jumps in to the passenger seat and
it's like a getaway car.
Yeah, like a getaway car, covering his face. And Stevi is like, what? What happened is Mahdi got a haircut for the first time in the US. Honestly, his hair looks really nice, but they cut his mustache too, which he wasn't expecting, and I guess was so shocked, like he didn't say, oh, you don't need to do that. And they cut it more thin than he would like it.
Yeah, they trim it from above.
Which he was very upset about. And he literally makes them go home so that Stevi can fill it in with makeup, which, by the way, the shape that she made after filling in, he looked like Seneca Crane, who was the game maker from the first Hunger Games, like how it looked in the movie. I'm sending this to Sophie right now because she's not getting the reference.
It's not clicking.
It's not clocking to you. Tell me that mustache doesn't look like what he was rocking.
Similarly sharp. Very geometric. The mustache was sharp. It looked like a goalpost. I've never seen such a shape. And
it was the craziest shape.
Might I add, when they're in the car, he's like, oh my God, I can't go to the coffee shop like this. I'm like, why can't you go to the coffee shop with a weird mustache?
I thought that they were meeting up with people.
That's what I thought. Maybe they're just going to Equinox Coffee in Hattiesburg, Mississippi for a mocha. Also, when he gets in the car covering his mustache, he goes, oh my God, they cut part of it off. The only thing I could think of that would justify that is a Hitler mustache. Yeah. I was like,
to match the Confederate flags.
And then it's just a millimeter between his nose and his mustache that's now free. I was like, I mean, maybe it's not the best mustache I've ever seen, but it's not like you can't go to Equinox Coffee in Hattiesburg, Mississippi for a mocha with it.
Anyway, we can move on from the mustache. They go together to the cafe after filling in his mustache. Stevi tells Mahdi that she told Wendy, Perry's girlfriend, at the dinner about the comment that Mahdi made the night that he arrived about potentially wanting to go back to Iran one day, which, as a refresher, the night that he arrived, when they're in the hotel, after he gets off the plane, he says a comment to Stevie about, oh, how would you feel if one day I did want to go back to Iran? And even then we said, of course, we understand why it hurt Stevie's feelings, but it really seemed like he was just really going through it in that moment, and it wasn't a big deal. I'm shocked that she is still thinking about this.
I know. It's like a
to Wendy
big deal
and
for
everything.
her.
Yeah, she's really upset about it. And Mahdi says that Stevie shouldn't have told Wendy that. Like, that is a private thing. Like, he doesn't understand why she's talking to people about it. It's not that big of a deal.
He says she shouldn't have told Wendy. And Stevie goes, well, you shouldn't have told me.
Yikes.
Like, she's not coming from like a mature, helpful place here.
Yes, absolutely. It's setting the tone for the fact that this conversation is not going to go that well. And Mahdi explains that he misses his parents more now than he did even that night. So that kind of thought of missing his family will always be with him. And I just don't get why Stevie is picking this fight with him when it's not even actually happening. For example, if he said to her, hey, I actually am thinking of going back to Iran, I understand this level of emotion that she's showing. But it was a passing thought, a passing comment, because I assume he thought that he could trust her and tell her this vulnerable thing.
She's the only person he has access to right now.
Exactly. And that was his first mistake, thinking he could trust her with this, I guess. Yeah, it just seems like Stevie is really uncomfortable with the idea that there's even a possibility that he would ever want to go back to his home country. In that case, why are you in a relationship with someone who's from another country?
I know.
Yeah, that's going to be a thought that people have. Of course, they're human beings. I just don't understand this mindset of this American disease, just thinking, well, you're here now. Get over whatever life you had before. Crazy.
Stevie asks if he'll always have these thoughts about going back to Iran. And I'm like, what a weird question. How can he know? But like, again, it just shows that like she doesn't get what it's like to move away from your hometown, have this feeling of connection to multiple places. Like she doesn't get it.
True.
So she asks if he'll always have thoughts, and Mahdi just says he can't make any promises about that, which like I think is fair. But then he does say something where I am like, Mahdi, if the last thing you said was already a problem, I don't know why you said this. He said that back when he was in Iran, he had the thought that if they broke up, he would want to stay in the U.S. anyway. But now he doesn't feel that way. Now he's only in the U.S. as long as they're together.
That was such an interesting comment. I don't think that him saying in general, like, yeah, like, I don't know, like, how would you feel if one day I wanted to go back to Iran? I don't think that that's a crazy question to have. I actually think having that conversation can like illuminate maybe something about your relationship that could be helpful to know. But this one, no.
What I'm also wanting is I'm wanting people's algorithms to update. She got so upset that you mentioned the idea of going back to see your family.
Yeah.
So she's not going to like you saying, by the way, if we break up, I'll still stay here. Like just.
But then he's saying, yeah, I thought that before I came here and now I'm only here for you. So I'm like, what is the point of this?
Can I say this is a bigger pet peeve of mine? When people feel the need to say, I used to think this, but not anymore. People go, I used to think you were so mean. But I'm like, why say that?
Right. What's the benefit?
I used to hate you. It's like, okay, I don't know. Like, so this is odd to me because I'm like, I feel like he could have said, it's hard for me right now because it's becoming even that much clearer to me that I'm only in this country for you.
Yeah.
And it puts a lot of pressure because I love you so much and you mean the world to me, but it's just hard to feel like my whole life is linked to this relationship. The thought is okay, but I don't think we needed the backstory.
I agree. It was weird. So Stevie is clearly mad, and she says that she doesn't like him saying that he thought about staying in the US if they didn't work out. She says it's because she would have moved anywhere to be with him, even Iran. As terrible as he says it is, she would have done that for him. I don't believe her.
No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have.
Her. You wouldn't have done that, Stevie. Is she lying just to make him feel bad, or does she actually think that she would have moved to Iran? Because she wouldn't have done that.
I think she genuinely thinks she would have.
Imagine pitching that to Perry. I want to know how that conversation would have gone.
Would have loved that.
Hey, Stevie, it's not too late. Maybe that actually solves everything. Do it. It just felt like a really immature thing to say because I'm like, okay, like, it's so irrelevant too.
I know.
There's no possibility of that happening. He's already here. Like, he can't go back. So why are you even saying it's not helpful? Even if that was true. Whatever. Mahdi says, and he's super calm as he always is, but he says it was just a passing thought. It didn't really mean much to him. Stevie says that that's the problem, that he even had the thought when she has never had that kind of thought, even for a second. Even for a second. She like repeats it.
Thought policing is not helpful.
She cannot let go of the fact that he had a passing thought. And I'm like, girl, you don't want to get inside this twisted mind.
You don't even want to know. No, but seriously, like, let's judge people on their actions. Like, thoughts, policing people's thoughts is crazy.
It's the one thing you genuinely cannot control.
No.
You can control how you react to your thoughts, how you act based off of them. You cannot control what you think.
And I want to add, she has not said, you know, I understand you feeling that way. I would appreciate if you would be a little more conscious about which thoughts you share with me, because I feel insecure about you wanting to go back. I mean, I still have sympathy for Mahdi that he has no one else to talk to right now. But if she were expressing it in that way, okay, no, she's genuinely policing his thoughts. At one point he says, it's just a thought. She says, okay, well, don't think it.
Right, she's not even just, as you said, she's not saying, well, just could you not share it with me? She's saying, you gotta change how your brain works.
That's crazy.
Imagine if he said this to her. She would think it's ridiculous.
Perry would be like, they're policing women. They're policing their thoughts.
He thinks you're his property.
And you know, this whole segment, straight up, nothing happens. Both segments in the show of them, it's just them sitting at the frickin' Equinox coffee, having this stupid fight about policing each other's thoughts. That's it.
Well, just her policing his thoughts.
Her policing him.
Yeah,
Her policing.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. You're right. It's her policing him, and him just being like, sorry that I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'll never share a thought with you again is basically the conclusion he comes to. He's like, I just really don't understand why you're making such a big deal out of this, out of my thoughts, he specifically says. She says that his thoughts are a huge deal. They're just not. Not in the sense that she means. Of course, how you feel about things, what you think about the world is a big deal. But a passing thought is not a huge deal. She's wrong. She's just incorrect.
Yeah.
It would make sense if she was raised religious, or if she is religious, though, having this mindset. Because I think that's a huge part of Christianity is like...
Where it's like, don't have bad thoughts and stuff.
Yeah. And you're a sinner, like if you even consider, I don't know, jorking it. I don't know what they're doing over there. But Christianity does set up people to feel this way. So I kind of I can have empathy for maybe why she's thinking this, but it's coming across as really crazy. She even says to him at one point that him saying it to her really disgusted her. Like, she's just really pissed about this in a way that I think is wild.
It's rather extreme.
There's other things in their relationship I think that she could latch onto as like, oh, I wonder if this shows that we're not actually that compatible. Like how freaked out he is by her artwork, which is literally her job, and other things. It's just funny that she's latching onto this thing that happened like days ago. I don't know. So in an interview, Mahdi says that he expected her to be more understanding and reassuring to him that everything is going to work out and be fine. And he says that any relationship can go wrong, so we have to be reasonable, which is correct. In one of the interviews, maybe it's when she says that him saying this to her disgusted her. I noticed that both of their interviews, they're separate. They're not doing a joint interview. And what they're saying here, like she was saying like, it disgusted me. And she had this really negative, like angry expression on her face, recalling something that clearly happened in the past. And then similarly, Mahdi is saying he expected her to be more understanding and reassuring that things are going to work out and be fine. It almost sounds like two people after a breakup reflecting on what went wrong.
Interesting.
Like, oh, when he said that, it disgusted me. I'm so angry about it. Versus, oh yeah, it really upset me in the moment, but you know, I managed to get over it or whatever. And then also him being like, yeah, like I thought she'd be reassuring and tell me everything was going to work out. So when it didn't shock me. Or something. Like I almost feel like these are the things that are happening that the producers cut after that comment in the interview.
I think you could be right. I didn't think about that, but I really think you could be onto something here.
Because they both seem really upset in their individual interviews, and they're separate. They're not together. Whereas they have done interviews together, but I believe they're in different outfits, and the vibe is much more like giddy and sweet.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see if going forward we get in the interviews of them together, and if we can figure out when those interviews stop happening. And then like the outfits that they're wearing in these interviews, if those happen throughout the season, because that could mean that like that was the last interview they did.
You're onto something. You got to get a spreadsheet going.
I'm going to be like, I have like a whole wall of like strings pinned to different things.
There's one line that Mahdi says where he says, I need a supportive wife. And right now that's not Stevie. Was that in a solo interview? Do you remember?
I mean, it must be. I didn't actually write that down, but I do remember it. I mean, it has to be in a solo interview. Can you imagine someone you're dating saying that next to you? This bitch isn't it.
I'm with unsupportive.
I mean, yeah, that too. What a nail in the coffin.
I know.
After this, I thought, dang, how many more episodes are there? Because it seems like the writing's on the wall.
Biggest plot twist would be if any of these couples worked out.
The only couple I can see working out is Juan and Jessica.
I can't see them being truly happy together.
No, but I think they'll get married.
Staying together, yes.
Greg and Joan.
Back in Long Island. So it starts with Greg and Joan in the car, and Greg is telling Joan about the parts of Long Island. The way it's just like the north part and the south part. Okay. He goes, across the water is England. It's just cracked me up. I'm like, that is so irrelevant. And then Joan asks if people go to England by boat from Long Island, and he says they used to, like the Titanic. That didn't end well.
I love his brain.
So Greg asks Joan if she's excited to be walking around the boardwalk where they're driving to. And she says she's excited to be out of the house, just the two of them, aka not with Lucille, who I did miss terribly in this episode.
I know, it felt a lot less dynamic without her there. Lucille, we rag on you, but you do have a certain star quality.
We love you. So they're walking down the boardwalk with the two little yappy dogs and a cooler. I just know that cooler has 18 full-size sandwiches in it.
We didn't even get to see them.
Greg asks directly if things are okay with his mom, and is also like, is that why we weren't intimate last night? And this like retrospective is so odd to me. And she basically says, yeah. She basically is like, I don't want her like knocking on the door. And you know she's there with a cup against the wall. Like she says she doesn't want to hear it, but you know she's like, what's happening in there?
And you know she's a light sleeper. She's not wearing earplugs either. She's just like, I'm a light sleeper and that's everyone else's fault.
I'm sure that's right. They once again are discussing the moving out timeline, and I'm kind of like, why are we still discussing this? I thought we both already expressed our preferences.
Exactly.
This is another conversation where they just express their preferences, but they don't come to a conclusion. So I'm like, why are we still doing this? So again, he's like, how about if we live with my mom for another 1.5 to 2 years?
She already said no.
I know. And Joan's like, I thought like 6 months. And again, Joan says in an interview with the producers that she would have reconsidered her decision to come here if she knew she would be spending 2 years living with her mother-in-law.
So fucking fair.
And then Greg says some bullshit. And you know what, Greg? I liked you. I was rooting for you. You are pissing me off. Because you know what? If there's one thing I really dislike in this world, people who won't do even the tiniest bit to help themselves. I'm not even religious, but I kind of like the saying, which is like, God helps those who help themselves. And I'm like, I just feel like if you even take one step towards bettering your life, I'm supportive of you. This man is doing nothing. Even when opportunity lands on his lap, he says, I don't want that.
He's like a seemingly straight white man in Long Island. I'm like, you can get a job. And if circumstances get in the way where you can't do the thing that you want to do and like you're suffering because of that, yeah, like we can have empathy for that. That's not what's going on with Greg.
If he were like spending every day applying for jobs, the job market's so tough, couldn't get anything, that would be enough for me. Like if he is genuinely trying, he literally had a job offer he turned down because it didn't feel right. Greg. So Joan is like so explicitly expressing that living on their own is extremely important to her. And he's just not listening. He says he doesn't want to waste money on rent. And by the way, I hate this weird boomer mentality. You're paying money for a service, a valuable service. It's
Why would that
wasted.
be a waste of money?
If you not renting a place comes at the cost of your relationship, that money was not wasted. I mean,
he says he doesn't want to waste money on rent and he'd rather save up for a down payment. And this is a guy who didn't really think about the fact that he needs to have a budget for grocery shopping. What do you mean you're going to save up money for a down payment? He doesn't understand how expensive it is to buy a home. Dude, it might take you a year or 2 years to save up the money to get an apartment.
Also, save up for a down payment. Save up what?
What decade do you think you're living in? He's just getting his advice from Lucille, who like bought her house for $10 in like 1980. But he's like, oh, I'll save up money for a year or two to get it to pay for a down payment. You do know that like you also have to pay monthly fees at home.
You have to pay the rest of the house. It's not just the down payment.
You have to have like income after that. It's not just that. Whatever. He doesn't know anything about how the world works, and especially money.
And this is further proven by the fact that he reveals to Joan that he has $8,000 in debt.
Dude.
The way he presents this is annoying. It pisses me off. He's like, well, yeah, it like costs money to like visit you and like pay for your visa and flight. And I'm like, okay, but like she deserves to know that money was that you were taking out debt to do that.
Yeah, like it sounds like she knew that he was in some debt, but she says, I did not know he was in $8,000 of debt.
How many loaves of sourdough is that? And broken dishwashers. And then Joan says, I thought people living in America were stable, but they're not. Joan, you hit the nail on the head. But also, you found an especially unstable horse to hitch your carriage to.
I bet that when he goes to Uganda, he uses his credit card. She might have thought that he actually had money because it goes so far in Uganda and kind of duped her in that way.
No, she definitely does seem duped. So then Joan very reasonably asks how they'll be able to pay for a wedding, given that he's in debt, he does not have income, and he's already trying to save up for a home. And Greg says the stupidest fucking shit I have ever heard in my life. He says, we can just cook all the food for the wedding ourselves. I'm sure my mom would help.
I think I would break up with him right there.
Like, what are the logistics of this?
They're going to just put it in a cooler or something and be like, take it for yourself. It just points to he doesn't understand how things work. He has like an idea. Oh, I'll save up money for 2 years and buy a house. No, you're not. That doesn't make sense, especially for your situation. And oh, I'll just cook the food at my wedding. Like he comes up with quote unquote solutions that aren't realistic. They don't make sense.
And then Joan is visibly a bit taken aback by this. And she says that, you know, she doesn't want to spend a lot on a wedding, but basically doesn't want to have a super shitty wedding. And like one thing that's important to her, she wants a nice wedding dress. And he's like, well, maybe your dress could be $500, which, okay, is not a lot of money for a wedding dress. But also beyond that, I'm like, I don't even think you can scrape together $500 for this.
You're in debt.
I think that's the whole budget for the whole wedding. And then there's something else that comes up also later in the episode, which is Greg expresses that he feels really overwhelmed. And I'm like, you're overwhelmed by one not heated conversation about the wedding? Like, he gets overwhelmed so easily.
Mm-hmm.
He then also reveals he has some job interviews lined up, but like, what does that mean? He's probably not even going to show up to the interviews.
Yeah.
He's going to get overwhelmed.
It's funny, like, yeah, he says, like, I have job interviews lined up, and, you know, if I get a job, no matter how hard it is, if I can just come home to Joan's embrace at the end of the day, then it will all be worth it. But this is not actually how he's acting.
Just last episode, you said I turned down the job so I could spend more time with you during the day.
Like, what are you talking about? Either he's realizing that he fucked up and he needs to get a job ASAP, or he's just saying something to appease her.
And then poor Joan says in an interview with the producers that she feels like she rushed into coming here without knowing the situation.
Yeah.
And that if things aren't secure, she will go back to Uganda.
And when she said that, I thought, yeah, honestly, you should go back now.
Let's go ahead and book that flight. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
For a lot of the couples in this episode, I felt that it was very clear how it will end. And not well.
Not well. In the next segment, it is revealed that they are going to a restaurant to meet Greg's friends, John and John. And I was getting Martini Pat and Cupcake Pat flashbacks.
I can't believe that we didn't have good name cards that popped up on screen for them. It was like long-haired and short-haired.
They get to the restaurant with the Johns. It's like a little waterfront place. It actually looks lovely.
It was pretty. Again, made me wonder, is production paying for this meal? Because we just found out he's in debt. How are we going out to dinner?
Maybe one of the Johns is paying. And so long-haired John asks if New York is different from Uganda. Yeah. I know it's an attempt at connection, but I hate when people ask stupid questions like this.
No, it's the same, actually.
It's just the same. A better question is like, how is it different? Or like, what are some things you're missing from home? Or what, like, just, is it different?
I will say, though, something that I do think is kind of important to highlight is long-haired John was very charismatic. Like, he had a presence about him. I really enjoyed having him on screen. I thought, I'd love to have you on here more.
Then John, long-haired John, has a sort of, to me, shocking reveal, which is that Greg won prom king in high school.
Loved.
But then he's like, yeah, I don't know if it was a joke or because he was popular.
What would the joke be?
I guess because he was like fat. I don't know,
but he won prom king. I think it's because people like him.
So then John asks the question we know he's been dying to ask, but he asks it very innocently. He says, so what's it been like living with Lucille?
The way him and the other John kind of have this little smile when asking, like, oh, they talk about that Lucille lady.
And Joan basically says, like, she really only wants to stay there 3 months. Mm-hmm. And so then Greg's friends are kind of asking him, like, how he will achieve this
Again, something they clearly talk about when Greg's not there. Like, Greg needs to get his shit together.
It's funny too when they ask these questions. It's like almost gentle parenting when they're like, so, and how exactly what is the plan for achieving that? You know, like it's like they asked in a sweet way, but you know, they were like, Greg is like, I'm really trying to get my bakery off the ground.
Greg, what does that mean to you? You're just thinking about, oh, this is what I'd name it. Maybe this is the color scheme. This is the menu. You're not thinking, how much money do I need?
What's the funding?
Yeah. Like, he's not thinking about any of the logistics. I just have to jump in and say that.
I know. And so his friends basically say the idea is really dumb. They say this to his face and also to the camera.
Yeah.
And they also say, you know, he should prioritize housing because starting a business requires funds. And they're like, maybe it's not so smart to invest the money you have, which we know is actually negative money.
Yeah.
They're like, how much have you saved up? Like, maybe you should actually put that towards housing first. And they do. I think long hair John says something to the effect of like, that Greg doesn't seem to realize he's not like a trust fund kid. Like, if you're in a situation where everything's figured out for you, then you can have like a creative job and it doesn't matter if you make money or not. But like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like let's prioritize housing. In the context of this bakery conversation, his friends so gently suggest he gets a job. They're like, you know, wouldn't it maybe be a nice thing to get a real job or like a salary job, maybe like a union job, and you can still do the bakery on the side, but like this could be a good option for you to really focus on getting a steady income stream.
Yeah.
Greg describes this in an interview with the producers as his friends grilling me hard.
No.
I really do wonder, and I'm sorry that I'm always diagnosing. It makes me almost wonder if he has, what is that called? Rejection sensitive dysphoria, which basically is you perceive any pushback as like people hate you. I mean, to a certain degree, I think I have it, but not like this extreme, but like any feedback, like if you live in Germany, you develop it and then get over it because of the culture. Like, but it's basically like your boss could be like, hey, thanks for sending over these slides. I think the wording on slide 3 isn't totally clear. Can you change that? And you perceive it as like, my boss thinks the work I did is horrible and I'm going to get fired.
Yeah, yeah.
To a certain degree, I wonder if he has a little bit of this because he's like, I'm hearing the conversation. It seems loving, gentle, kind. Any pushback, he's like, it's getting so intense. They're grilling me. And it literally makes me think, is he going to get a job? And the boss is like, hey, thanks for sending the slides. Could you please resend as a PDF? And he's like, my boss wants me dead. Like,
well, we know for a fact also that this is not new feedback. He's getting this from every person. He's getting it from Joan. He's getting it from the female friend in the first episode, from his mom even. And I doubt that this is the first time that the two Johns have brought this up to him.
I know.
So it's so interesting given that he's taking it very personally. Is it because he's on camera? Is it because it's in front of Joan? Is this the first time someone said it in front of Joan?
It might be. I think
that could be it.
But still, he's pushed back on everybody in every context. And then now he starts like deflecting by saying like, well, he spent all his money going to Uganda. And it's like, okay.
You made that choice.
Yeah.
Also, I think that if you had explained to Joan, hey, I don't have money to come to Uganda, she would have been like, oh my gosh, then don't come. Definitely prioritize that.
Don't like set us up for a lifetime of failure.
Yeah. And also, I have to say, in this moment, Joan looks so validated. She's like, yes.
Thank you, Johns. Thank you, Johns.
I said the same.
And then again, Greg's like, my friends are ganging up on me. Ganging up is like, hey, maybe a job would be nice. Like this really offers insights into the way his brain processes things, because I'm like, it's one thing when someone describes a situation and you weren't there and you have to like kind of reverse engineer what happened. Seeing this explicitly, seeing the tone, I'm like, okay, Greg, you are fully making shit up.
Yeah.
Then they start talking about kids. I think one of the Johns asks if they want kids and how many. Greg says he wants 10 kids, but like ultimately like as many as Joan will give him. Joan says she will do 2.
I love Joan. She's so realistic. She literally so far has not said one thing wrong. And I just want to say, I want to go on record before we watch more episodes. If she starts, like let's say she turns absolutely crazy or something, I'm on her side fundamentally because he is pushing and pushing and pushing her.
She was set up. And then Greg's like, well, maybe 4. with what money? And even the Johns are like, with what money? Like, you can't even afford to live alone, let alone support a partner. Now we're adding 4 to 10 children, even 2 kids they can't afford.
Similar to Mark, this touches on this thing of how so many men view children as not human beings.
An accessory.
A thing to pass down your lineage or something, like you're a king, first of all. Greg?
What are we passing down? Your sourdough recipe?
You could just give that to us and we'd be very grateful. We'd carry on your legacy. But they're not actually thinking about first of all, the logistics. What car will you drive? What house will you live in? If you ever visit Uganda, how expensive will those plane tickets be?
You can't even take care of Joan, who, might I add, can mostly take care of herself, right? Like, she's a full adult. She just like is in a circumstance where she can't work due to her not having a green card yet. So she needs help. He can't even do that. Children need you to take care of them like 100%. They can't do anything. So if you can't even meet Joan where she's at, how can you take care of?
It's just preposterous. It's like not even worth getting into the weeds, I guess, because it's just so fucking preposterous. And then even 4 children is preposterous for Greg. Like, what are you talking about? You're not going to pull your weight. Like, I think that men like him, they just view having kids as playing with them on the playground.
And like, oh, it'll be so nice, a big family around the Christmas tree or whatever. Yeah.
Mini me's. That's not what kids are. I bet that he's the type of man who's like, oh, no, babe, it's okay. My mom's totally going to help us out. Number 1, your mom did her time. Let her go. Let her not be a mom anymore. My God, she needs you to cut her off. She loves it, but you need to cut her off. Number 2, I don't think Joan wants to co-parent with Lucille.
I know. So at this point, Joan also tells the Johns like she does think Greg needs to learn how to budget. And they're like agreeing.
Again, very fair feedback.
And then John reveals that Greg has turned down multiple job offers because he doesn't want to punch someone else's clock. Dude, that's what having a job is all about.
And that's what explains why he wants to have his own business, because he thinks he doesn't have a boss then, so it's fine.
You perform labor in exchange for money.
Yes.
And if it's just up to you to pick what labor you perform, yeah, that'd be really cool. That's not how it works for almost anybody. Even if you're your own boss, you're still beholden to your customers.
Well, right. You always have a boss.
Why do I feel like if he had a bakery, he'd be like, nah, I don't really feel like baking today. He has like pre-orders waiting for him. He's like, not gonna do it.
I should go pick up my 10 kids.
The customers are ganging up on me because they paid me money and I didn't give them bread. Like,
that's the kind of gag about being self-employed, is a lot of people want to be self-employed because they say they don't want to have a boss. Honey, you always have a boss. You just don't have an individual boss. Your boss are your customers.
I really think he thinks someone's going to give him money for just no reason. He's waiting for his like sourdough Medici to come and be like, you know what? You're so great. Here's $1 million for no reason. I get it if you have a problem with like a specific job or a specific industry. He has a problem with the concept of engaging in capitalism at all, working.
But I don't see him like moving to a commune. So
no.
What's the plan? What do you want?
I guess he lives in a commune with Lucille.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And then Greg says something that shocked me because I'm like, different reality that you're living in. He complains about being the sole provider. Greg, what are you providing?
He's like, well, I'm the sole provider right now. Girl, with what money?
Lucille is the sole provider.
I mean, technically he's doing the plumbing, I guess. Or what's he getting, $300 a month?
And then he spends it all on groceries with no budget in one go. So this episode really, it secured Greg a place in my Hated Men Hall of Fame.
Greg, we hate to see another one fall. We liked you so much, episode 1.
And I'm so sad about it, but I'm like, I need to see you do anything. Do something. Execute one thing.
Also, he's 35. It's not like, oh, I'm in my 20s and I'm trying to figure out my life. It's not even like, I don't know, circumstances held him back. It's not like, from what we can tell, like he was disabled or a caregiver or something that like explains why he didn't work for a while. And of course, if you're unemployed for a period, it's hard to get into the workforce again, of course. No, he's gotten job offers.
That. And also, like, I'm not pretentious about what kind of jobs people have. Like,
yeah,
if you make an honest living, I'm proud of you. I'm supportive of you. If he was like, you know what, the corporate world doesn't work for me, but I'm going to work at a store and like work my way up and become manager of the store, I think that's honorable as hell. I think that's great. He won't do anything. That is what really pisses me off.
And he won't do anything when he is explicitly given job offers. That's what's driving me crazy.
The number of people who would do anything to be given one job offer, who would say, I will take any job.
Yes.
To support my family, to have that feeling of dignity, of making your own money. And like, it's honestly, it really, I know it's not meant this way, but it really comes off as almost entitled. Like,
totally entitled.
When his friends were like saying he has almost a trust fund kid attitude, like, I agree. And it's funny because I think it doesn't come from a place of extreme privilege at all, but it's just like his attitude is like,
he thinks he deserves better.
Yeah.
I think that also a lot of people who have this kind of attitude, they don't consider the fact that if you go into employment in a regular job with even a bit of the correct mindset of just not assuming it's going to be shit, right? If you just think, okay, it'll be fine, you don't understand how much peace that will bring you. I'm not saying you have to love being at your job and you're so happy every minute there. And often being there might actually suck a lot of the time. You're like, oh, God, I can't wait to get home. Number one, join the club. Most people in this country and the world live like that. Number two, having, as you said, the dignity of being employed, having an income, being able to support yourself, not the lifestyle you would ideally have, but again, join the club.
Being able to put food on your own table and a roof over your head.
It gives you a stability and a happiness that you might not originally identify as happiness, but it is. Peace, at least.
It's a calmness. It's an absence of chaos. It's an absence of stress. It's a sense of, okay, I have what I need. And maybe I don't have everything I want, but I have what I need. That feeling is remarkable. And for him to not be pursuing that feeling it's odd to me.
I agree. It's very strange. And I really think he needs to get it through his head that actually getting a job will make him a lot happier than he thinks it will. I think he's focused on the wrong dream. His dream should be, at this moment in time, to feel at peace in his life and to make Joan feel the same. And that just means having a regular job for now. And one day maybe you can save enough to open a bakery, but maybe that's in your 50s and that's okay. It's actually pretty normal. Most people aren't opening businesses in their 30s.
I know. Not in this day and age. I know.
Yeah.
It pisses me off because it's like to throw away an opportunity that is given to you is just like, to me, so unforgivable that I'm like, what are you doing at the expense of your relationship?
Yeah. Do it for her at the very least.
Greg, you have 14 more episodes to get your shit together.
Frankly, you have 4.
You have -3. But
honestly, I'm rooting for Joan to leave him. Sorry, Greg.
Every time any of these people are like, I'm going to go home, I'm like, that's actually a great idea. And let's book you a ticket. Let's get on Expedia. Let's make it happen.
I'm really scared for a lot of these people if they do get married. I'm like, ooh, yay.
I know.
That's like when you go to the baby shower of the baby that you told your friend to abort.
Hey,
oh, so
cute.
So happy you're here. That wraps up episode 6. I know 6 is not like a particularly big number, but I'm really proud of us. We've been really consistent.
Through adversity.
And holidays. I'm genuinely proud. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here again. Please give us a like, a review. Make sure that on at least Apple Podcasts, and I think also Spotify, you have it turned on so that when you're following the show, you also automatically download, because that, for whatever reason, algorithmically actually really helps us a lot. So we would super appreciate if you could please check that that's turned on and tell your friends about us.
A little to-do list for our beloved followers.
Please follow us on Instagram at MyBestViewPod and on TikTok at MyBestViewPodcast. And we are so excited to keep doing this with you all.
We love our fans. We'll do anything for you.
Genuinely. Except for foot stuff.
By anything, I mean sort of, we will put out an episode once a week. And we'll respond to your nice comments.
Yes. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Happy 2026.
See you next week.